Namaskar. A very good evening and good morning to all of you. On behalf of Vivekananda Study JNU, we welcome our speakers, delegates, and dear friends to this virtual meeting on Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi's message for the modern world by revered Mataji Pravrajika Divyanandaprana ji. So this talk is specially for commemorating Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi's birth anniversary. As usual, we start today's program with the recital of Vedic chanting from Taittiriya Upanishad, a part of the Yajurveda. So for this, I request our VSC member Prachi to begin the program with the recital of the mantra. Prachidi, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm here. Sahana bhavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviryam karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma bhitvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May we, teacher and a student, be protected. May we both be nourished. May we work together with great energy. May our intellect be sharpened. May our study be effective. Let there be no animosity amongst the teacher and the taught. Om. Peace in me, peace in nature, peace in divine forces.
Thank you, Prachidi. So, with this, a brief introduction about Vivekananda Study Circle JNU. The Vivekananda Study Circle JNU, New Delhi, was formed on 1st of November 2014 to study the teachings of Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Sarada Devi with the aim of molding our lives based on the Vedantic truth of oneness. VSC JNU is a non-political, non-religious, non-profit, independent organization run by faculty members, students, and alumni of JNU. We usually meet every Saturday to study the scriptures and the works of Swami Vivekananda and practice chanting and meditation. We also hold public talks and retreat programs. So those who want to join us in our regular classes can drop a mail to vsc@gmail.com. We would be very happy to have you there. So thank you. And now I would request Orgo and Arhan, two kids, to present a devotional song on Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. Orgo, Arhan, over to you.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Jayo Jayo Janoni, Jayo Shri Sharudamoni, Corona Rupini, Jayo Ma. Jayo Jayo Janoni, Jayo Shri Sharudamoni, Corona Rupini, Jayo Ma. Adya Shakti, Corona Prakriti, Adya Shakti, Corona Prakriti, Ashura Nagati Tumima, Ashura Nagati Tumima. নিবারিণী মা, দুর্গতি নিবারিণী মা, সিদ্ধি প্রদায়িনী মুক্তি বিদায়িনী, সিদ্ধি প্রদায়িনী মুক্তি বিদায়িনী, জীবগতি দায়িনী মা, জীবগতি দায়িনী মা। নিখিল জগৎ মাতা জীব কল্যাণরতা, নিখিল জগৎ মাতা জীব কল্যাণরতা, লজ্জাপটামৃত মা, লজ্জাপটামৃত মা। দুর্জন সজন সন্তান গণ, দুর্জন সজন সন্তান গণ, পালন কারিণী মা, পালন কারিণী মা। জয় শারদেশ্বরী সীতারাধা মাতা মেরি, জয় শারদেশ্বরী সীতারাধা মাতা মেরি, যশোধরা বিষ্ণু প্রিয়া মা, যশোধরা বিষ্ণু প্রিয়া মা। যুগদেব বন্দিতা সুরধর সেবিতা, যুগদেব বন্দিতা সুরধর সেবিতা, নমো নারায়ণী মা, নমো নারায়ণী মা। জয় জয় জননী, জয় শ্রী শারদামণি, করুণারূপিণী জয় মা। জয় জয় জননী, জয় শ্রী শারদামণি, করুণারূপিণী জয় মা। আদ্যা শক্তি করুণা প্রকৃতি, আদ্যা শক্তি করুণা প্রকৃতি, অসুর অনুভূতি তুমি মা, অসুর অনুভূতি তুমি মা। জয় জয় জননী, জয় শ্রী শারদামণি, করুণারূপিণী জয় মা, করুণারূপিণী জয় মা, করুণারূপিণী জয় মা। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you so much, Orgo Orhan. It was such a wonderful presentation. Now, I would request Arpita Mitra to read a few excerpts from Holy Mother's sayings. Arpita Didi, please.
Namaste. I'm going to read out a few sayings of Holy Mother. Remember one thing. If you want peace of mind, do not find fault with others. If you would look for faults at all, see your own faults. Accept all as your own. No one is a stranger, my child. The whole world is your own. You extend 1,000 favors to someone, but commit one fault. They frown at you. People only see faults. One should be able to see the qualities instead. One should not hurt others even with words. One must not unnecessarily utter unpleasant words, even if it were true. By speaking harsh words, one's nature becomes rude. One's sensibility is lost if one has no control over one's speech. Such is life, here today, gone tomorrow. Nothing accompanies you after death.
accept your merit and demerit. The fruits of good and evil deeds follow one even after death. Of course, one should work. The mind remains fresh if you work. But jap, meditation, and prayer, these are also necessary. One has to practice these daily. It is like the oar of a boat. You will be able to reflect upon your own actions when you sit for prayer in the evening. Along with doing work all through the day, if you do not sit for prayer and meditation daily, how will you know what you are doing? Just as the clock goes tick tock all day, so should you take God's name throughout the day. As you progress in sadhana, you will gradually see that the same God who dwells in me also dwells in you and in the Dule, Bagdi, and Dom people as well. Only then will you have true humility. My son, the Master looked upon everyone as the embodiment of the Divine Mother. This time, he has left me behind to develop the ideal of motherhood on earth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Arpita Didi. Now, I invite Divya to welcome the speaker, introduce the theme, and conduct the talk and discussion. So, before handing it over to Divya, a gentle reminder to all the attendees. So, kindly switch off your video camera and microphone during the webinar session. This is especially for all the attendees who are attending us via Google Meet. And to all of you, you can write your question during the session in the chat box. Live questions will be taken up after the panelists have finished speaking. You can mail your valuable suggestions or feedback to vscjnu@gmail.com. So Divya, over to you now.
Thank you, Alka. Good evening, everyone. It is my honor to welcome Pravrajika Divyanandaprana today, who will be delivering a lecture on Holy Mother's message for the modern world. A very warm welcome to you, Mataji. Holy Mother Sarada Devi, the divine consort of Sri Ramakrishna, whose birthday we're commemorating today, left her body 100 years ago. And yet, her soul dwells in all of us as a subtle body. Holy Mother has touched the lives of thousands of people across the world. As she so memorably put it, I am the mother of the wicked, as I am the mother of the virtuous. Never fear. Whenever you are in distress, just say to yourself, I have a mother. In a 1936 edition of Harijan magazine, Gandhiji wrote that those who see in Sita a willing slave under Rama do not realize the loftiness of either her independence or Rama's consideration for her in everything. Sita was no helpless, weak woman incapable of protecting herself or her honor. Gandhiji's remarks on Sita here, who remains the ideal of Indian womanhood, reminds us that Mother Sita was hardly a passive victim, caught in the snares of male ambition, though this has sadly become the dominant perception of her resistance. However, we may remember that Sita battled with Ravana as much as Rama, with the weapon of her steadfast devotion and insistence upon the truth. Swamiji once said that the entire womanhood of India is her progeny, and even now, thousands of years later, her patience and selfless suffering at the hands of her oppressor continues to guide India. Indeed, it was her example Gandhiji was following when he undertook his satyagraha to free India from foreign clutches. Coming now to Holy Mother, we find the ageless grace exemplified by Sita in the form of a humble woman born in the waning years of the 19th century, a time of immense hardship and suffering in Bengal, where she was born. In her, we find a reincarnation of Mother Sita. Like Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother took on the sins of others upon herself so that they may be redeemed. Once Holy Mother had a nettle rash all over her body. To her devotees, she said, I have been suffering this ailment for the last 3 years. I do not know for whose sins I am suffering in this body. Otherwise, how is it possible for me to get any disease? When Holy Mother was staying in the music room at Dakshineshwar, many aristocratic women of Calcutta would visit her. Some even compared her to Sita. "What a tiny room for our girl," they would say. "She is, as it were, in exile, like Sita." Likewise, Sister Nivedita wrote that it has always appeared to me that she, Holy Mother, is Sri Ramakrishna's ideal of Indian womanhood. Nivedita asked if Mother represented the last of an old order or the beginning of a new. In response to her observation, we might recall the words of her Guru Swami Vivekananda, that the ideal of Sita stands these thousands of years, commanding the worship of every man, woman, and child. Like Sita, then, Holy Mother Sarada Devi represents the revivification of an ancient ideal, which remains ever relevant for the modern world, being that it is eternal, like the soul of India. And now, with deep gratitude, I would like to invite Pravrajika Divyanandaprana ji to deliver her message on Holy Mother. Dhanyavad Mataji.
Namaste everyone. It's a joy to be with you. So many familiar faces. And Divya Nayarji has given such a beautiful introduction to Mother that makes my job easy. And can I just request, would you kindly tell me how long is this? Am I supposed to speak for half an hour? What's the duration of my talk?
You can speak up to 45 minutes.
45 minutes. And then there's a Q&A after that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So it was really heartwarming to watch those two kids so beautifully sing on Mother. It really made my day, you know, because this is a song which we all love on Holy Mother. And these two, Arghya and Arhan, I have seen them as such small children. They did it so beautifully today. And every year almost I have been to JNU. Anirvanji has been organizing a whole lot of programs. And it's nice that this time it's on Mother and we are meeting virtually to discuss her life and message, and especially how it's relevant to the modern age. Mother is, well, to put it in words, you know, about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein would say about Gandhi that the future generations will not believe a man called Gandhi existed. So I think the same applies to Mother. Mother's life and Mother's nature, Mother's bhav, Mother's contribution, it is such that I don't know if after 3-4 generations, girls would be asking, oh, who's she? And what is all this about? So they will not believe that such a personality existed. Such a being existed who was so selfless and so motherly towards one and all. She was the mother of all. This is how she looked upon herself right from a young age. Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi could look upon every man, woman and child as her own child. And she met every single person like that. So this bhav, it is something without parallel in this world. She was indeed the mother of all. That was her attitude towards one and all. And her life is essentially her message. The life is full of love, selfless love, service. It is full of very beautiful, elevated bhavs. It is full of the motherly care, concern, just like what a mother has for her biological child. That kind of care, concern, and service Mother has rendered to everybody who came to her. So studying her life itself is a highly purifying experience. I was delighted to hear the interpretation of Mother Sita and the quote of Gandhiji given here. Because you see, characters like these are many times misunderstood. Because their ideal, the ideal they come to portray is far beyond the normal understanding. So this is our problem. We are not able to grasp what they are trying to represent. So in order to be able to grasp it, we must study the life reverentially, respectfully, with Shraddha. Once we do this, you will understand they are embodying a very high ideal. The reason why Mother Sita never spoke a word against Sri Ram is because she is embodying the very high ideal of selflessness. She is embodying the very high ideal of complete devotion. So this is to be grasped. Without this, we cannot interpret the life of a character like Mother Sita. So also with Holy Mother, if you have to understand the glory of her life, something of her bhav, we should be able to catch it. By bhav, I mean, there's no English equivalent to that word bhav. It actually means her sentiment, her nature, her character, a combination of all these. So something of that should enter us, and then we will be able to understand her. And Holy Mother, that's why for now, let's try to understand her through the words of Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda. Sri Ramakrishna would say, she is my Shakti, she is my power, she is Saraswati, she is the goddess of learning, and she has come to impart wisdom in this world. She has come to teach us something. She has come to impart something very precious. We must be able to learn from it, to grasp it. That's the whole point. And what did Vivekananda say about her? Vivekananda said, without Shakti, there is no revival for this world. Mother has been born to revive that wonderful Shakti in India. So you see, these are immense words, I would say. It's a prediction he is making. He could see far into the future. And he saw into the future and he said that wonderful Shakti will once again get revived here and elsewhere all over the world. And that Shakti will revolutionize this world. It will bring about great changes. So Mother embodies that. And this is the mother power, which is, which is actually the very, you can say, essence of Indian cultural values. The way we have worshipped motherhood. Motherhood is that ideal in a woman which naturally brings forth a respectful, worshipful attitude in everyone. So Mother epitomizes, you can say, this mother ideal. Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, she really epitomizes this ideal. She is the representative of the great mother ideal of India, I would say. Because this was her attitude, her bhav towards one and all. Once, he's not actually a devotee. It was one of her initiate disciples who asked her, Mother, are you the mother of all? Even these insects and animals? And she answered, yes. So you see, this was her feeling towards everyone. And that is why, if you actually read her life, it thrills you in all these places. The way she lived and the way she gave of herself. She took it as a personal responsibility for every person who came to her. And the selfless love and service which she rendered. See, in today's age, this is really an ideal which we don't get to meet. We have become so locked up in our comfort zones, in our little egos. We don't understand this immense selflessness, this all-inclusive attitude. And that is why the understanding of mother, the mother ideal, is so very important for all of us. Today, our education, we get PhDs without getting a component, even a bit of this bhav into our system. And that is why we struggle in life. We struggle within the family itself. We don't learn the basic things of adjustment, the basic respect and courtesy we have to pay to each other. We don't learn the basics of life, how to handle our thought, our emotions, our will, how exactly to calm our minds, to adjust with everyone. See, only if your own mind is calm, you will understand how to handle every situation, isn't it? So all these basics we have not learned. And we are even double PhDs in a whole lot of things, from quarks to quasars. We know everything. But we don't know anything regarding this own system. We have not developed our inner virtues, which are actually part and parcel of our being. Because the human being is essentially divine. The core of your personality, there is an element of divinity. You are pure consciousness functioning through a body-mind complex. But for that to manifest, something is required. That is why devotion to such high idealism is required. And that is why we will study Mother's life, the incidents of Mother's life with deep reverence, and see what we can draw from that and apply to our everyday life. Look at Holy Mother's life in Dakshineshwar. That is one part of her life which really touches me, because she was only a young girl at that time, a teenager. She was 18. And first time when she comes to Sri Ramakrishna asks her point blank, have you come to bring my mind down into this world? Because she is the wedded wife. Sri Ramakrishna Holy Mother was wedded at a very young age, as was the custom in those times. And when Sri Ramakrishna puts this question to her, her immediate answer is no. I have not come to bring your mind down to worldly life. I have come to help you realize your ideal. I have come to serve you. So you see the bent of her mind. The bent of her mind is towards something very elevated. Now this is the first thing to be grasped. Why are these people considered extraordinary? Because they have decided to direct their energies towards something elevated, something very high. And that is why the life gets ennobled, as it were. The life reaches a totally different level. Holy Mother showed these characteristics right from a young age. And then, how was her life in Dakshineshwar like? Even once she asked Sri Ramakrishna, how do you look upon me? And Sri Ramakrishna said, that very mother of mine who lives in Nahabat, his own mother, Chandramani Devi, lived in Nahabat, a small place within the temple garden. And that mother who's in the temple, the Kali temple in Dakshineshwar, that is Mother Kali, I look upon you verily as the same. So this was their attitude towards each other. And Holy Mother, throughout her life, she showed this very high idealism, a perfectly pure life dedicated to love, selfless love and service. Oh, this is a remarkable thing. This is the most extraordinary thing about Mother. When she was in Dakshineshwar, how was her lifestyle like? You know, those of you who have seen the Nahabat will understand how adjusting Mother was from this young age. It's a small room where she lived, and she happily lived there with a whole lot of things around her which were required to cook for the master, to cook for Sri Ramakrishna and for the devotees who would visit him. And how would Mother's day be? Mother would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. She would quickly go for her bath in the Ganga. The Ganges flows right beside this room. And once why she would go in those very early hours is she wanted to finish all these duties before anybody came there. And then quickly she would come back to her room and then go up the Nahabat, go towards what you may call the terrace, the roof of the Nahabat, and sit there for spiritual practices, for her meditations. She would practice japa there. And in that silence, in that utter peace, and in those times, Dakshineshwar it was far from Kolkata. Today it's like a suburb. And it was very silent, peaceful, forested area. So there, in the calmness of that place, she would practice intense spiritual discipline, and she had great experiences at that time. She even touched, of course, her mind was of that quality. She even went into samadhi. She herself says, once I heard in those early hours of the morning, I heard somebody playing the flute. And as a result, my mind went into samadhi. She became so sensitive. Her mind became so clear. Her whole personality changed in such a way that she really became fit to become the mother of all. And she would say, after she finished her meditations, and there are a number of experiences associated with this time of her life. I don't want to go into them all, but the essential thing is she dived into herself and got the essential thing, essential, you can say, objective of human life, self-knowledge, God realization. Her mind, you can say, dwelt in that plane. As a result, all her actions, her responses were very, very sober, very, very sweet and appealing to everyone. She represented the mother ideal for everyone right from that young age. After her meditation, she would come down and then would start her day of service to her mother-in-law, who would stay in the room above this Nahabat where Holy Mother stayed, and then service to the master, cooking for him, cooking for the devotees who came to him. The whole day would go in these activities. She could hardly rest in the afternoons. And evenings again were given to Aarti, they were given to serving the master, food, cooking, in all these activities. And you know how she described this period of her life? She said, I felt as if a picture of bliss were placed in my heart. A picture of bliss. And sometimes that picture overflowed and inundated the people who lived with her, because whoever lived with mother at that time, they bear testimony to the state of her mind. Yoginma, Golapma, all these, they were all young at that time. They say that mother's mind was not of the ordinary kind. It was very high. It was immersed in God, as it were. So mother radiated a kind of divinity around her. And this also shows to us where actually happiness lies. See, in this very simple life of devotion and service, mother found her greatest joy. A picture of bliss in my heart which nothing can shake. This is how she would describe it. And today, with a whole lot of, look at our state of being, a whole lot of gadgets around us to keep our mind busy, entertained, and yet we have no peace. We are constantly complaining. You know how stressed out we are. Each one complains of stress, a list of complaints, even in the midst of this pandemic. Although you are at home, you don't have to travel anywhere and do anything, but still we have a whole lot of complaints for the simple reason the mind is not at peace. We have not dealt with the essential instrument. We know everything about the objective world. We don't know how to handle our minds. So in mother's life, you can get all these perfect pointers towards where is the essential change to be made. See, if you manage your mind well, you manage your time well, you manage the people around you well, you manage ambiguities in your life well, you manage your anger well, you manage your likes and dislikes well, just if you manage your mind. Otherwise, time management is a big issue, and managing people is a huge issue. Managing the boss is another issue. Everything is an issue. So to manage mind, some amount of spiritual discipline is required. This is what mother is teaching us. Calmness of mind, steadiness of mind comes with spiritual discipline. No matter what we are doing, where we are placed, we all function only through the mind. Isn't it? Does anybody function in any other way? No, we all function through the mind. Now, what have we done to develop the mind? Tell me. You do things to develop your body. Yes, we take physical exercise, we take nutritious food. We do things to develop our career, our professions. We do things to develop everything in our life except doing anything positively to develop, to cultivate our minds. What are the thoughts that circulate there? What are the emotions that we allow to, we encourage there? They are going to determine the quality of our lives. How much of awareness is there in the mind? Or is it all blocked? It's all invested in your worries and fears. So this kind of a mind is not going to give you peace and happiness, even if you have a $1 million home, 50 cars, you have whatever you want. you will get bored of it. Because essentially happiness is a state of mind. And if the mind is not in order, in the right state, happiness will not be there, no matter what you have around you. So placing a picture of bliss in our hearts is only possible through spiritual practice. We may not be yogis, we may be very ordinary people, still spiritual. Some amount of calming of the mind is required. Some amount of regulation of lifestyle is required. So this is the message we must learn from Mother at this stage. She's showing us the importance of mind management techniques, the importance of spiritual practice in our personal lives. Today it has become a fashion to talk about yoga and not do it. Yoga is essentially about doing. So this is what I would say is one of the very important messages of Mother. I remember one incident in Mother's life. She was in Udbodhan, and there was her niece Nalini also staying in Udbodhan. Udbodhan, I don't know if you know it, it's a publication house today of the Ramakrishna mission, and it is a place where monks live. It's a very vibrant place with so many positive vibrations and such peace. Now, when Mother was in Udbodhan, she was at great peace, but Nalini was very restless and agitated. And one day she complained to Mother, "Mother, I have no peace of mind. Please rectify my mind." And Mother said, remaining in such a place, you are in a place which is very positive, and still you have no peace of mind. Why? The essential thing is you have a sinful mind. You have a mind which searches for faults, and you do not work. That is the reason for the agitation of your mind. So you see, Mother is pointing out, you do not encourage positive thoughts in your mind. A sinful mind means this: constant negativity, anger and hatred and jealousy and lust. All these, as long as these dominate our mind, the mind is bound to be restless. And you don't work for others. So unless you are contributing selflessly in some way, in whatever way you can, the mind will not come under control. So you see, two simple points Mother is making, but they are life-changing. Ways to calm your mind and bring in positivity consciously, deliberately, and a life of contribution to society. This is essential to be able to manage your mind, first of all. Otherwise, no matter where we stay, we will carry our mind there, isn't it? Today, people plan getaways. Post-COVID, many will be doing that. You see, they want to get away somewhere. But wherever you get away, you are carrying your mind with you. So even if you plan costly getaways, the same mind is going to go with you. So first of all, the essential thing is to be able to understand certain things about our thought process, our mind, which will help change our life. See, let me give you here a great secret about spiritual practice. It's not a secret anymore because it's come out in YouTube videos. What you repeatedly think, that you will become. Whatever you repeatedly think, you are going to manifest that in your life. Now, this law is so very important. See, we don't understand the implications of this. Our very thought process is responsible for our experience in life. Look at the things around you just now. There's a computer in front of you. There's perhaps a printer, a table, your mobile phone. All of these were thoughts in somebody's mind once, isn't it? And the thought became so intense, it materialized as objects. You actually created those objects. So whatever is in the mind is going to come out. It is going to become your experience. So then what should we encourage in our minds? This is essentially sadhana. Sadhana means this. And that is why deliberately encourage positivity. Deliberately repeat to yourself your own glorious nature and make sure positivity dwells in your mind. Positive thoughts and lawful thoughts. Thoughts of love, selflessness, service, devotion. These should reign in the mind, isn't it? And not this Shadripus, the 6 enemies. So please remember, this is to be consciously done. Mother's message is essentially about spiritual practice and selfless service. This is the message of her life. The importance of spiritual practice, I am just pointing out here. Mother used to say, Japat Siddhi, Japat Siddhi. You can get the highest through the repetition of God's name. Now we moderns, we don't do anything of this. That's why I was so delighted to see these young children singing about mother. It is so important to bring these sentiments into our homes. Isn't it important? Think and tell me. Otherwise, constantly that television and the internet screaming out all sorts of bhavs at you. So consciously it is required to cultivate positivity, radiate, then you will radiate positivity. And for this, some amount of sadhana is required. Mother used to insist on the repetition of God's name, Japat Siddhi, she used to say. You can get the highest through the repetition of God's name. So please bring in some amount of spirituality into your everyday life. And the spirit of service, whatever job we are in, making a selfless contribution to society. This is very important. To start with this kind of a mindset, for this kind of a mindset to become dominant, what can I do for you? How can I help you? Not what can I get out of you, but what can I do for you? In this lies peace of mind. In this lies the joy of life. Look at Holy Mother's life. The whole life is full of service. Anybody coming to her gets full. Not just gets enough to eat, but his heart becomes full. And he goes back. So if you actually read the reminiscences of Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, you will find that everybody who came to her, whether it was in Kolkata or Jairambati, they had this experience. They left with a fullness of heart, which they couldn't explain. And Mother taught everyone through her own life. Like a mother does, she was the mother of all. Let me tell you an interesting incident here. There was this young boy called Nyan. And he was a boy from East Bengal. And he was a little obstinate by nature. So he had met Mother in Kolkata and he came to meet Mother in Jairambati when Mother was in Jairambati. That was her village, and occasionally she would visit Jairambati. So he came to meet her there and he stayed with Mother. Mother used to feed him. Then one day Mother told him, see, you go to the Amodar every morning, don't you? He would go there to take his bath. And then Mother said, see, I'll give you a basket. There is a tree there with bright yellow flowers. So you just pluck some flowers and bring them for my morning worship when you go there tomorrow morning. So the next day, Jnana very happily did this task. He brought a basket full of yellow flowers and gave it to Mother for the morning worship of Sri Ramakrishna. Then Mother signaled to him to sit there. And she worshipped with those flowers. Then she asked him to come closer to her, and then she initiated him into a mantra. She initiated him and gave him a mantra so that he starts his spiritual practice. Then this boy, she told him, now come on, bow down to the master. Bow down to Sri Ramakrishna. Then he said, why, Mother? I'll bow down to you. You are my guru. Mother said, no, my child, Sri Ramakrishna is everything. He is the guru of gurus, so please bow down to him. Now this boy was obstinate. He said, no, you have initiated me, so I'll first bow down to you. And my Mother said, look, my child, I'm the mother of all. He is the guru. Then this boy said, mother? But my mother is at home. And then Holy Mother Shri Sarada Devi became very firm and said, Nyan, look at me. I am that mother. And Nyan actually saw his biological mother sitting there. I am that mother, she said. And then he just fell at her feet. He knew that this was something, it was like a mystical experience. When she's saying, I am that mother, she's showing that the Matru Bhav in her is so intense. She is indeed the mother of all. Nikhila Matru Hridaya Sagara Manthana Sudha Murti. That is how she is described. If you churn the hearts of mothers all over the universe, the pure nectar of love which you get, she embodies that nectar. She's an embodiment of that nectar. So Jnana was so stunned at this that then he writes, that is the day I understood that she is not just my mother. She is my real mother. She has come to me as my biological mother, and she is the mother of all beings. She is the mother of all. She really radiated this Matru Bhav and all that goes with it. You see, what a high sentiment towards all beings, the same thing. You should see in her life the way she welcomed Nivedita, the way she welcomed a newcomer, the way she welcomed a foreigner, all with the same bhav. Everybody felt that in her presence, and they would go with a full heart. She would say, always remember when you are in distress, you have a mother. She would say, I am the mother of the virtuous and I am the mother of the wicked. Now look at this. Mother of the wicked. Who can say this? Even the wicked man's mother may not say. She feels ashamed to call herself his mother. But mother says, I am the mother of the virtuous and I am the mother of the wicked. So this all-encompassing, all-inclusive Matru Bhav, mother ideal, this is something we have to pick up from Holy Mother Shri Sarada Devi. Today's women, we know what their struggles are and what their conclusions are as a result of that struggle. But if we develop this ideal, this outlook right from the beginning, you will know that inclusivity is not a choice. Inclusivity is not an option you can choose from. It is the way of life. It is the nature of existence. Existence is all inclusive. So also should be the human heart. You have a place for everyone. You have kindness for everyone. You are able to serve everyone. And with a pure bhav, look upon everyone. This is the nature of life. This is called a developed human heart. So this is so well expressed in the life of Sri Sarada Devi that we have to pick up. These are the things we need to pick up from her. Isn't it? And the last message of mother which Divya spoke about. Oh, no, I think Arpita spoke about that. So you see there, she says, my child, if you want peace of mind, do not find faults with others. Rather see your own faults. Learn to make the whole world your own. There is no one a stranger, my child. The world is yours. So Vedanta also is trying to give us this message in various ways. In mother's life, in very simple way, she showed this. What it means to accept everyone, love everyone. So essentially, all these messages are grounded in deep spirituality. Please remember this. They are not just a feel-good experience. I must feel good and so I have to behave like this. It's not just about all this. They are grounded in a certain expansion of consciousness. And that is why the natural behavior at all times, in all moments, is like that. So our innate spirituality has to be cultivated. This is the essential message. If you want this all-encompassing love, deep peace of mind, positivity in the mind, then bring some amount of spirituality into your life in whatever form. Whether you like to do puja, whether you like to do japa, whether you like to do meditation, do something, but bring your mind in order. And if you do this, all this is there. All these bhavs, these beautiful sentiments, this peace of mind will naturally descend into you. So the messages of all these, you can say, extraordinary human beings who showed something extraordinary in their life, something holy in their life. These messages are the same. They all teach these important things for us. They in fact reinforce our values. They reinforce good, high sentiments into us. And these are to be cultivated on an everyday basis. Towards the end of his life, Sri Ramakrishna once asked Holy Mother, "Won't you do anything? Should I alone do everything?" And Mother said, "I'm a woman, what can I do?" And he said, No, you have to do much. Once again, he said, twice this kind of an incident took place. Once again, he said, see, the people of Kolkata, they are squirming like worms. They are leading a very, very ordinary kind of life. You must work for them. You must remove them from that. And Mother really became a beacon of light and hope and love, not just for Kolkata, but for the whole world. She actually developed a personality which made everybody feel safe with her, made everybody consider her as mother. See, she is considered the Sangha Janini of the Ramakrishna order. She was the guru who gave, no woman has occupied such a position in a monastic order. Please see. Monastic orders are always very strict. Mother is the Sangha Janani of this order. She is the Shakti behind this order. And this great order, which radiates the bhav of Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, Mother provided the initiation to many of its monks initially in the first years. So Mother is the guru. Mother is the guru in this order. Mother is the Sangha Janani of this order. And Mother has represented an ideal, has shown an ideal which makes us feel really the warm-hearted feeling that we get when we go to our own mothers. She has brought that, a kind of universal motherhood. This ideal is possible. This ideal is the aim of human life. So we get a picture of this. That is why I told you initially that really the future generations may refuse to believe a woman like this existed. And that is why let us imbibe something of this mother's virtues, mother's qualities, mother's great love, so that the future generations will have that faith and hope that yes, something like this is possible. They should not feel the sense of lack that characterizes modern societies today. The feeling of pain, negativity, and the extreme restlessness. Look at this, these pandemic woes. You didn't have time because you had a full-time job and you were very, very serious and concerned. Now you have time and you don't have to go for your job and still there is so much of worry. It's all because of lack of mind training. Nobody else is to blame. So it is important to cultivate these values and virtues wherever we are, whatever we are doing. so that our life becomes peaceful from within. Because human experience is from within yourself. Don't think human experience is directed by the outside. Human experience starts from within. You can have nothing and yet you're very happy. You can have everything and yet you can be very sad. So let us take all these values from Mother's life, essentially a life of devotion to high values and selfless service. I think this is the message of Holy Mother for this modern age. With this, let me stop the talk so that we can take up more and more of interaction. I'm more interested in that. So I'll wait for your questions. Should we have the questions, Divya?
Yes, we do. I was just looking up the questions. There is one question so far. I invite everyone to please type in your question in the chat box, either here or on the YouTube channel, please. Okay, so Alka says, Pranam Mataji. After listening to a spiritual discourse and doing meditation, I feel at peace during work and feel a harmonious relationship with others. But with time, my mind is gradually disturbed. How can I maintain the peaceful mood with me always?
Yes. See, this is the point. How do I maintain the state of meditation always? So it's a question of practice. It's only a question of practice, because when you attain a state of calmness in meditation, if you really experience a state of intense calmness and deep awareness within yourself, deep happiness, that the memory of that will remain with you throughout the day, so that no matter what situation you are in, your mind will want to come back to that baseline, that peace, that happiness. It will want to retain that state all the time. But if it is not generated in the meditative hours, the mind has no baseline. Are you getting the point?
Yes.
That is why meditation is important. And once you practice more and more of it, you will be able to retain that peace and happiness, that calmness, steadiness of mind at all times. It is possible. I have seen people who don't react at all, No matter what happens around them, there will be just a very proportionate response, because the inside has become very calm. It's just appropriate to the situation, whatever the response. But there is absolutely no reaction. So this is born of the meditative mind. Try it and see.
Thank you, Mataji.
Next question is from Tanushri. Pranam Mataji, my question is the chaos we see in the world actually a reflection of our own mind?
Oh,
Can
yes.
Can we control that by controlling our mind? Thank you.
Oh, yes. See, what is the proof that the chaos out there is a result of our minds? We may say, no, it's not a result of my mind. Somebody's mind is working like that, and that's why the chaos. If you actually explore what mind means, there's just one mind, a bit localized in this. So I consider it to be my mind when it's localized here. When it's localized in some other being, I consider that to be your mind. But it's just one mind. So then what vibration I pull towards me depends on what I have cultivated within myself. If my inside is all chaotic, I'm going to pull all the chaos towards me. This may appear fantastic, but this world is a mixture of good and evil. This world is a mixture of calmness and chaos, order and disorder. Depending on how you cultivate yourself, your mind, you will draw those experiences into your life. Not that the world is just like this alone. It's not like that. So if I have cultivated calmness within me, I will remain sensitive to calmness. If I have cultivated restlessness within me, I see the whole world as restless. I will draw only those sorts of vibrations towards me. This is a law of the human mind. What you repeatedly think and feel, you will experience and become. Please watch the video on positive thinking. It's actually called Miracle of Positive Thinking. If you watch that video, it's on YouTube. If you watch this video, it will give you these laws of thought. How your thought process actually pulls in your experiences, determines your experiences. So however fantastic this may look to you just now, the meditative mind will give you this knowledge. What you encourage in your mind, you are going to experience that. So better encourage the right things. And that is why the way to change the world, it begins with your mind. Do you know that common story which we would tell children? There was a king and he had some problem with his eyesight. So he called a whole lot of physicians and the Ayurvedic physicians of those times and said, well, give me some medicine. And they tried so many things, but it didn't work. And then one Ayurvedic physician, he suggested, oh king, you must look at greenery. If you see everything green, it soothes the eyes and your eyes will get better. So then the king ordered that everything be painted green. Within the palace, outside the palace, all the buildings, everything should be painted green. So that whatever my eyes fall upon, they will be soothed and my eyes will be all right then. Paint the whole city green. Then there was a wise minister who came forward slowly and said, my lord, what is the need to do all this? Just wear green goggles. I'll get you goggles painted green and you'll see everything green. So these goggles are our mind. Are you getting the point? You are seeing the world through the lens of your mind. So you paint it green, you will see green. You paint it yellow, you are going to see it yellow. So if we paint it with the right stuff, I am going to have those experiences. I am going to see the world like that. It's that simple. Sri Ramakrishna used to say the mind is the kalpataru, wish-fulfilling tree. So what's a kalpataru? You sit under it and whatever you think, it will materialize. He would tell this story. Sri Ramakrishna tells this story. A woodcutter went to a forest and sat under a tree. He didn't know it was a kalpataru. It was a wish-fulfilling tree. So he started thinking, oh, I'm so tired. I wish I had some food. And food suddenly appeared, all princely dishes. I wish I had something to drink. And drink, wine, fruit juices, everything appeared. Then he thought, oh, I wish I had a nice place to lie down. This ground is so hard. And a royal bed appeared there. Then he wanted somebody to press his legs. And servants came to press his legs. So whatever he thought is happening. Then he thought, oh, whatever I think is happening, but what if a tiger comes here in this forest? And a tiger came and pounced on him and ate him up. Because he couldn't control his thought process. He was under the wish-fulfilling tree. He only had to think rightly. So it is important to think, learn to think properly to change your experience of the world. This is the whole point. Sri Ramakrishna says that wish-fulfilling tree Kalpataru is your mind. Please remember this. Yes.
Next question is from Sulekha, who says, Pranam Mataji, it is not easy to have patience and keep calm, especially with all kinds of financial crisis going on. I guess understanding is not deep enough.
Right, right. Yes, you see, the thing is, until survival needs are taken care of, there is a subliminal current of worry. This is hitting our lower middle class and the poor people so much that it's really very painful. Until survival needs are taken care of, basic food, shelter, and clothing is assured. This kind of a attitude of a kind of disturbance remains in the mind. But once they are taken care of, you don't try to raise the bar of survival. What I mean to say is, you don't think that happiness and peace only come by getting more and more things. Definitely work for your survival, whatever is required, do for that. You require a basic good life. But beyond that, a good life means a good mind. So to be able to generate that is the real intelligence. Once survival needs are taken well care of, it must be the most important priority in our life should be mind management. And for that, that's why I talk of meditation. Is this clear?
Next question is from Arpita. Pranam Mataji. Swamiji says jealousy is a characteristic of every enslaved person. What is the connection between jealousy and slavery? What would be your counsel regarding jealousy? What causes jealousy? What is the antidote? What insight do we get from Holy Mother's life regarding this difficult human emotion?
Right. Right. You see, Vivekananda has spoken about this, and in Holy Mother's life, she shows us how to tackle this. Jealousy is definitely the characteristic of an enslaved mind, because it is not able to reach where it wants to go. It is going to pull other minds down. So this is so common in the workplace and the characteristic of so many minds that it is a huge problem. The nature of jealousy is it will sharply criticize, and it's not healthy criticism, it's unhealthy criticism, and try to pull down others. So the way to overcome this jealousy is, see, at the point of jealousy, if talking from the victim standpoint, you cannot advise anybody against being non-jealous because they will never agree to it. They feel, no, I'm telling the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. How do you know that it is the jealousy factor? By this simple experiment. Is it healthy? Is it meant for correcting something, or is it unhealthy? Is it being told to others? Is it being done with an intention to pull down the person? So when jealousy is there, how do I tackle it? There is only one way of tackling it. Change your thought process. You cannot change the other person. If you keep thinking positively, you keep on radiating positivity, any obstacle on your path, it just gets blasted away. Have you seen this in your own life? See, if you very much want to reach a particular destination, and there's a roadblock, maybe a huge stone on the road, you just kick the stone aside and go because you really want to go there, isn't it? So also, if you have a solid goal orientation in your life, you want to go somewhere, and your mind is very positive. No stone can stand in your way. You will just kick it aside. The meaning is not that you destroy somebody, the meaning is jealousy will not work on you. The jealousy, the negativity of somebody's mind will have no power on you if you have trained yourself in positive thinking. That's why I said, listen to that video, Miracle of Positive Thinking. The more positive thinking you encourage in your mind, you create such solid grooves in the brain. The brain is neuroplastic. It will start functioning in a way that no negativity can touch you. Even if it comes, you can see that you can't touch this person. For the simple reason your every thought, word, and action is only positive, only goal oriented. But if you waste your time thinking how bad that person is, throwing such negative vibes at me, then you will be hit by his jealousy, his or her jealousy. So the weakness of your mind allows jealousy to operate on you. The strength of your mind will blast away all jealousy. To develop the strength of mind through positive thinking, meditation, mind management, all this. That's why initially I told you, spiritual practice, spirituality gives you life skills. How to manifest the best in your life, how to become the best you. You must be able to utilize these principles. In Holy Mother's life, don't think she had a smooth life. Oh my God. You should see all the strange characters around her. Her sister-in-law was half crazy, almost fully crazy actually. And her daughter also was a very adamant kind of child. And this sister-in-law would try to she has physically tried to harm mother, throwing things at her and all sorts of people around her, even mother's own brothers. Sometimes they were so selfish and not that they saw divinity in her, they just looked upon her as a sister. So all sorts of strange characters she lived with. But look at her responses. This is what I want you to observe. Always calm, caring, peaceful, loving. This is the picture of mother you get under all circumstances. Even if she was shaken at some time, immediately she would turn around. So for this to happen, the mind should have a high proportion of awareness, a deeply conscious mind. This is what meditation generates for you, so that it remains balanced no matter what the situation. A mind which has low awareness is only identified with thought process, with your fear, with your worry, with your negativity. So it is constantly reactive to the outside. This will create a hell of a situation for you. So jealousy can be overcome by the power of your mind. You don't allow it to affect you, and it will also transform the other person if you radiate positivity. That person will feel there's something around this person, I can't touch her. You create a different aura for yourself. This is practically true. You practice and see. But if you try to advise the jealous, please give this up, they are not going to listen to you. Because they don't know they have it. So practice and see, and you see how it works. It's a miracle. Yes, anything else?
Yes. Next question is from Pushbu, and she asks, I'm very eager to know about you, how you became a Pravrajika at Sharda Math. What inspired you most to do so?
Well, we don't talk too much about our own lives. We would rather focus on these great lives. But this much I can tell you, that I was very meditative from a very young age. It's just sanskars, we have to say. My past impressions made me take up a life of meditation and service, because I felt meditation is the only sane state of existence. It is the sanest state of existence, let me put it this way, where your mind is really functioning as it should. You have touched a dimension beyond this cogitative, agitative mind. So from that vantage point, you can think best. You can know best. So why should I not take up a life of meditation? So I think this is what inspired me from a very young, and I was very young at that time, you won't believe it. So it's just, I should say, sanskars, which propelled me towards this life. And as a Pravrajika, as a member of this organization, this provides you an ambience for this kind of life. That's why we join the order. It's a life of purity, it's a life of service, it's a life of meditation.
The next question is from S. Dhar. What qualities and practices will bring us closer to Holy Mother?
Which practices? What's the question, please?
What qualities and
Yeah.
practices will bring us closer to Holy Mother?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. What should I do to come closer to Holy Mother? You just have to follow her life. What she did. Whenever you are in a particular circumstance or situation, how would Mother have responded to that situation? You know, once she told a young girl, can you love the whole world? Mother was going to Jairambati and the girl would be missing her. So Mother said, see, the way not to miss me is you must love the whole world like how you love me. So if you can develop this attitude towards everyone around you, you will be getting close to Holy Mother. She was the embodiment of love, pure love. Not love as it is used everywhere. An embodiment of pure affection. So this is something inherent within us. See this, the attitude, motherly attitude of caring and nurturing, that is inherent in every child, in every girl. So bring that out and show it to people around you. And that way you will go closer to Holy Mother.
Next question is from Prachi. Namaste, Didi. I have 4 small questions. How to judge a human being, and what are those virtues? Second, clarity of mind. What are the symptoms of an unclear mind? Third, what causes insecurities in life, and how can one get away with it? Fourth, what does it mean to be sensitive?
So the first is qualities of mind.
First is how to judge a human being and what are those virtues. If it helps, I'll read them again as you answer.
Yeah.
So the first is how to judge a human being and what are those virtues.
How to judge a human being. First of all, you see, judging a human being is only natural because in the workspace you have to know the relative characteristics of different minds. It is very difficult to understand the human subconscious. The conscious mind, to a great extent, you can understand. Isn't it? What the person is thinking, you pay a little attention, still your own thought process, and you can know what the person is thinking. What is the bhav he is radiating at you? You can in some way catch it. But the subconscious mind can be full of a whole lot of things which you have no clue of. So the only way to judge a human being is to judge the whole mind, know the whole mind. And for that, you have to be sensitive to the person's various reactions, to his unconscious reactions. That is the only way you can know the character of the person. In the workplace, this may be important to you, but as a rule, don't be very judgmental. Be more loving than judging. Okay? Yes. Second point.
Second point is clarity of mind. What are the
Yes.
symptoms of an unclear mind?
Yes. So an unclear mind is constantly worrying. Strong negative emotions are there. And it is busy. Although you don't want it to be busy, you want to shut it off. But still it will remain ever busy. So it's cluttered with a whole lot of thoughts and emotions which you don't want actually to experience. Haven't you seen this state of mind? Now you watched a movie tonight. The whole of next week the replay was going on. And you wanted to shut down, but it won't. So you see, the content of your mind is created by your sense experiences. What you take in through the eyes, what you take in through the ears. So as long as you don't take good stuff, your mind is not going to get clear. The content of your mind will remain agitated. Once you start taking in good stuff, just like how you take good nutritious food for a good stomach, so also good food through the senses for a good mind. Your mind will naturally clear up. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhish, sattva shuddhau dhruva smriti, Upanishads. You take good ahar, good food through the senses, you'll have a clear mind. You have a clear mind, it'll have more awareness. And a controlled thought process. What a beautiful state that should be. So it starts with the senses. Okay. Next.
Then last question Prachi had was, oh, sorry, no, there's one more. What causes the insecurities in life, and how can one get away with it?
The actual factor is your inability to control your mind causes your insecurities. But you will put it upon financial insecurity, relationship insecurity. You will put it on all that. I told you, no matter what is around your life, once your survival is taken care of, mind management should take priority in your life. Because the basic insecurity begins from there. Will this make me happy? Then only I'll go into it. Will this make me sad? Then I won't go into it. So if you have a state of mind where you are happy no matter what is there on the outside, then you lose this sense of insecurity. You are secure everywhere. As long as your survival is well taken care of, only that should cause you worry. If that is well taken care of, you see, once you are earning a good salary, you must use the rest of your time, all of your free time, in building a great mind, thinking great thoughts, leading a life of elevated ideals, and not wasting your mental energies on all sorts of problems, on too much of exposures to all these movies and all this. It'll just drain your energy away. So insecurity comes only when I'm not sure of how my mind will be. I'm full of fear, I'm full of worry. It's these negative emotions that give insecurity, basically. And I'm not sure how to control them. So I just dive into insecurity. So learn the art of mind management through yoga, through meditation. Then you are always secure. Yes, next.
Next, final question from Prachi is, what does it mean to be sensitive?
Yes, to be sensitive means actually sensitivity is towards an ideal. Now, we heard of Holy Mother's life. To become sensitive to all these values which we discussed. But usually for an unthinking mind, sensitivity means being sensitive to the ego. They can't be told anything. You can't point out to anything in them. because they will react. Oh, I am not like this. I didn't do this. So the sensitivity is entirely geared towards the ego. So this is not called sensitivity. This is called stupidity. Sensitivity means you are wanting a bigger slice of life. So you will raise your mind by yourself. Uddhared atmana atmanam, na atmanam avasadayet. You will raise yourself by yourself. That is sensitivity. So develop this sensitivity towards values alone is sensitivity. And the sensitivity which we feel for our ego, for our likes and dislikes, that is just stupidity. One day in your meditation, you will understand this fact about your life. What am I being sensitive about? What am I trying to protect? And then gradually you will give it up. Let us protect that which is worth protecting. Let us live by that which is worth living by. And don't become simply sensitive to something which takes you away from your idealism. So this is sensitivity.
Next question is from Sri Darshana, who asks, how do we keep a meditative mind all throughout the day and stay positive every moment? And I just want to say that we're going to stop taking questions after this one. I have my final question, if that's all right. But we'll end with this question from the listeners. How do we keep a meditative mind all throughout the day and stay positive every moment?
So you see, positive thinking is based on practice. Instead of analyzing any and every situation with your silly mind, with a mind which is not trained, you must deliberately articulate positivity in the situation. For example, let me give you an example. Now, suppose you didn't do well in your exams. I don't know, students are there or not, but suppose you didn't do very well in your exams. And what will you do about it? Regret, fear, anger, frustration, depression? No. You tried, somehow you couldn't do it. You will only repeat in your mind, I will do much better next time. I will raise the bar of my achievement by myself. I am born to win. I am born to achieve. I can do anything and everything. You know, Vivekananda would say this again and again. Keep saying this. I can do anything and everything because all power is within me. My soul, the Atman within me, that is the receptacle of power. And that is the real me. So I can do anything and everything. It's only a question of time. If you repeat this sort of dialogue in your mind, the negativity will go. You are definitely not going to go into depression. But today I hear there are suicides because of failing in exams and all this. This is just stupidity. That means your thought process is totally untrained. So this is to be consciously done. Conscious positive thinking. Every day on an everyday basis. And gradually the mind will become like that. And you augment all this through meditative practice. So that throughout the day, the mind functions consciously in a particular way, not compulsively, not driven by your anger and fear and worry. So this is a matter of practice, that's all. Yes, last question.
Last question is from me.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Mataji, it's going back to the point that I started with in the welcoming remarks about Gandhiji, but the question of violence and how do we respond to violence when we personally experience it at at an individual scale, at a social scale, and how does violence create slavery of mind? Going back to Arpita's question, because it seems to me all of these problems of anger, jealousy, greed comes from at some base level violence. And in one of your talks, I remember you saying that most of our suffering is self-created. And even when we experience physical violence, there is a way in which we relate to it after it happens. So my question is, how do we stop the mind from becoming angry, bitter, and even going back to the same abusive situation, particularly as women?
Right, right. So, you see, it is your mind which determines the depth of your experience. Any experience, however negative in your life, can be overcome if the mind derives a boost from within, which means the mind steps into a level of awareness where your consciousness or awareness dominates the mind and not the negative thought process. The mind field is dominated by becoming deeply conscious from within. Have you noticed this when you are early morning hours, when you are deeply conscious and not compulsive, not tired? At that time, whatever you think, it just comes out alive. It feels very alive to you. For some people, the evening hours produce this experience. So basically, how deeply conscious you are from within is going to determine the extent of your experience. So when you have faced a negative situation, how much power will you give it? Depends on you. How much power you give it to influence you depends on you. You could not change the situation, but you cannot allow the situation to harm you further. You cannot allow that situation to penetrate into your heart, into your being. Because your real nature is immortal, infinite, and immortal power lies within you. Bring out that power through the filter of your mind by becoming more and more aware. Here, when I use the word awareness, I don't mean aware of something. Just becoming more and more conscious within yourself. The more you become that, the more you will be able to handle violence and negativity on the surface of your mind. This is what I mean. Because there is no way of removing violence from the world unless it is first removed from our minds. And if some other mind is able to influence you in such a way, they can inflict your body, but what happens in your mind is entirely yours. And if you allow another mind to inflict you in such a way that you go into depression, then this is to be corrected. This is to be changed. Don't allow your mind to dwell on that situation, to repeat it, to circle around it, because I told you, what you repeat in your mind, there is a tendency to attract those vibes. So put a wall across and encourage positive thoughts. Become deeply conscious from within so that the power within you comes out and you can handle this situation much better. Especially in abusive situations, counseling becomes a very superficial thing as long as you don't awaken the Shakti within you. That Shakti is already within you. You are a Shakti. And through the power of your mind, you will put down this violence. If you are through a situation like this, you will understand the pain of it and fight against it. But you will never allow it to harm you. Never allow it to seep into your being, because essentially you are pure, absolutely. You are the very source of power. You are Shakti. So, with deep faith in this and with the power of meditation within yourself, handle this situation maturely around you. There is no situation which you can't change, which you can't handle. Never allow any negativity to seep into your heart and make you destroy your faith in humanity. Yes? Does this make sense?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mataji. I would like to now hand over the mic to Alka. And thank you again for this deeply informative and beautifully explained commentary.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you so much for conducting the whole session. So there is an announcement for our next event. To commemorate Swamiji's birth anniversary, VSC is planning to organize a series of talks on the theme Swami Vivekananda's patriotism in the month of this January 2021. So the first talk in this series will be delivered by Revered Swami Ishmanandaji Maharaj of the Vivekananda Vedanta Society of Chicago on 16th of January at 7:30 p.m. So with this, I would invite Tanushri to give the vote of thanks. Tanushri, over to you.
Thank you, Alka. On behalf of VSC JNU, I extend my gratitude to our speaker, Pravrajika Divyanandaprana ji, for enlightening us. We are deeply thankful, Mataji, for taking out the time to deliver a talk. I am thankful to all the members of the VSC JNU, Amrita, Arun, Anindita Didi, Namrata, Srilekha, for their constant inputs and suggestion at every step. I extend my special thanks to Arghav and Arhan for presenting the devotional song, Arpita Mitra for reading out excerpt from Holy Mother and for her guidance, Swagata Didi for poster design, Prachi for chanting Shanti Mantra and coordinating with the speaker, Alka for hosting the meeting, and Divya for conducting the talk. Their constant hard work has turned this day into a success. I would like to thank Sri Anirban Chakravarti, who has served as the foundation for the entire event and for taking the hold of the technical team. His calm approach, continuous guidance, and yet silent work is a great catalyst in bringing this event to a success. Thank you everyone for joining and for your contribution to the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanushri. So I invite Prachi to close this session with the Shanti Mantra. Prachi ji, over to you.
Yeah, Alka, the next slide. Yeah. सर्वे भवन्तु सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. May all be prosperous and happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is spiritually uplifting. May no one suffer. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you.
Thank you all.